The train slowed as it entered the station, not a city, not a town, just a wooden platform, open land, and people already waiting. The children were told to stand in a line. Some held small bundles of clothes, some carried nothing at all. They were told to keep their hands visible, to stand straight, to look healthy. Adults stepped forward. Questions were asked quietly. How old are you? Are you strong? Can you work? Behind the children, the train doors closed. No one explained what would happen if no one chose them. Years later, the records would call this placement. But the children remembered something else. They remembered standing still, while strangers decided whether they were worth taking home. By the middle of the 19th century, American cities were overwhelmed. New York, Boston, Philadelphia. Immigration surged, factories multiplied. Tenements filled beyond capacity. Families lived packed into dark rooms. Disease spread quickly. Work disappeared without warning. When parents died or vanished or simply could not survive, children were left behind. Some were abandoned, some were surrendered. There was no federal child welfare system, no uniform laws, no shared responsibility. Children were managed locally and increasingly treated as a social risk. Reformers worried about crime, about poverty, about what unsupervised children might become. They did not ask what those children were already enduring. They asked what removing them could prevent. In 1844, a New York minister named Charles Loring Brace proposed a solution. Brace believed cities corrupted children. He believed rural America, Christian America, working America could save them. His organization, the Children's Aid Society, would remove children from cities and send them west. By train, they would be placed with families. This was described as rescue. Newspapers praised it. Churches endorsed it. Donors funded it generously. Brace argued that environment shaped character. If children were moved early enough, they could be remade. What the plan lacked was enforcement. The process became routine. Children were gathered from orphanages, from almshouses, from city streets. Many still had living parents. Most were poor. Many were immigrants, Irish, German, Italian. They were washed, dressed neatly, their names written down sometimes. Then they boarded trains. Over the next 75 years, more than 300,000 children would be moved this way. Train after train, town after town. When the trains arrived, notices were posted. Families were told to come see the children, in churches, in town halls, sometimes directly on the platform. The children were lined up, boys on one side, girls on the other. The youngest were placed in front. Adults inspected them. Hands were checked, teeth examined, bodies assessed for strength. Children answered questions when spoken to. If chosen, they stepped forward. If not, they stepped back. Sometimes this happened once, sometimes repeatedly. Most children were not legally adopted. Many placements were informal. Some were indentures. Children were expected to work. That expectation was rarely hidden. Boys rose before dawn. Girls cooked, cleaned, cared for infants. Schooling was promised but not enforced. Pay was uncommon. Supervision was minimal. A child who complained could be returned, or reassigned, or ignored. Oversight depended on distance and goodwill. Neither was reliable. Some children were chosen immediately. They were taken home that same day. Others waited. They learned not to cry. They learned not to hold on to siblings. Holding on meant being passed over. One boy later recalled being selected for his size and told he would be useful. A girl remembered being rejected because she limped. Another remembered watching her younger brother disappear into a wagon while she was told to stay in line. These stories repeat across decades, across states. They are not anomalies, they are patterns. Supporters pointed to success stories, and they existed. Some children were treated kindly. They were fed, educated, loved. They built lives. But the system did not distinguish between kindness and harm. It assumed both would balance out. Success was measured by numbers, how many children moved, not what happened after. As the movement expanded, problems became harder to dismiss. Children used as unpaid labor. Children denied schooling. Children beaten, isolated, neglected. Some cases reached courts. Few resulted in consequences. The placements were legal. The agreements were voluntary. Responsibility was diffuse. No single person was accountable. Children who ran away were blamed. Children who disappeared were rarely investigated. Records were thin, names misspelled, dates missing. Some children vanished from documentation entirely. By the late 1800s, criticism grew louder. Journalists published exposés. Social workers raised concerns. Some states pushed back, but the trains continued. The idea was too entrenched. Removing children from cities was still considered moral. Evidence of harm was labeled exception, not structure. By the 1920s, attitudes began to shift. Psychology advanced. Child welfare laws emerged. States developed foster systems. The orphan trains slowed. In 1929, the movement officially ended. Quietly, no national reckoning followed. No formal apology. No comprehensive accounting of what had happened. Adults who had once been orphan train children began searching for their past. They found silence. Files destroyed, records missing, siblings lost permanently. Some never learned their birth names. Others discovered they had living family only after it was too late. The system had dissolved. The damage remained. The orphan train movement was not hidden. It was photographed, celebrated, praised. Its danger was not cruelty alone. It was normalcy. A system that looked benevolent, while removing choice, identity, and protection. Children were moved legally, publicly, quietly, and once they stepped off the train, their stories stopped being recorded. America remembers the trains as rescue. Many children remembered them as the moment their lives were handed away. And in the absence of records and names and answers, silence became the final destination.